Hello, and welcome to A Star to Steer Her By, episode 77.
Woo!
Shit, I'm going to say lucky episode 77. Well, I blew that one.
That's not a thing.
We got the luck of the Irish in this episode.
Oh, there we go.
Extra
lucky for that.
Yes,
we're a bunch of drunks.
We will get to that. It's an offensive week here on A Star to Steer Her By, with episodes Samaritan Snare and Up the Long Ladder.
Ooh.
I'm Chris, and with me as always are...
Ames.
Caitlin.
And Jake.
Jake, you're not even doing the intro.
It's good old Jakey boy.
It's broken. Oh, it's bloody broken.
Oh dear. I think
Can you make it go?
I believe he's had a stroke.
I'm combining the two offensive tropes.
Oh, we look for things. Hidey-tidy-tie.
Still better than the Assassin's Creed Rogue Irish accent, which is relevant because, at least at time of recording, the remaster's about to come out.
We're not an Assassin's Creed podcast, you know.
Don't you know?
We're not here to do advertising for Ubisoft, are we, son?
I don't know, we had a long
Get
conversation
on with the synopses.
We had a long conversation about toilets, so...
We're definitely here to sell toilets.
Well, that may or may not actually, you know.
Well, now it has to.
Shit.
Ha! Toilets!
He said poop.
It's gonna be one of those weeks, friends.
In the Samaritan Snare, the Enterprise is off to look at pulsars or quasars or something. Did you write it down?
It
Yeah,
was unimportant.
Space thing.
They were in space.
Yeah, but Captain Picard is being forced to go to Starbase 515 with Wesley Crusher. Wesley's off to take some sort of exams to allow him to continue to be an acting ensign, whereas Picard is off to get his ticker replaced because he lost it years ago in a bar fight.
Well, he lost it in surgery. It was injured in a bar fight.
Touche.
That's a good point.
Picard, always losing things.
Yeah.
Women,
Stupid
hearts.
Picard.
While Picard and the boy are in a shuttle, which apparently doesn't have warp, even though it has nacelles, to get to the starbase, the Enterprise picks up a distress call. They soon encounter the Pakleds, who have a ship that is having issues with going. They send Geordie over to fix things up. He claims it's going to be quick, even though it took him like 13 years to fix Okana's ship, but he's convinced he can do it faster this time.
He just wanted to keep Okana around that much longer.
Well, that and he probably just figured that these guys were such dipshits that they probably just had a fucking hamster wheel to run it, so he figured I'll just give them a new hamster.
No, he thought it was a rubber band.
They forgot to plug it in. That was the problem.
Have you tried turning it off and on again?
So, long story short, the Pakleds are actually technology thieves who utilize the fact that people tend to underestimate them to lure them onto their ship and steal things from them. Geordie gets shot a bunch of times, and there's this whole...
Like, that can't be good for you, right?
Yeah.
No, especially not at close range. Close range stun in some stories is lethal.
Yeah, isn't that how they killed the assassins in Star Trek 6?
Yes, although that might not have come out by this point. I'm still...
No, it
vague.
hasn't come out.
Yeah.
I don't think. No, that was like 91.
Yeah.
Assassins!
That gets confusing. So then they pull some kind of trickery to convince the Pakleds that their ship is broken, and they drop their shields, and Geordie's beamed away, and everything's fine there. And then Picard's simple procedure turns out to not be simple because the episode ran short, and also they wanted Pulaski to be smug at him. In Up the Long Ladder, the Enterprise picks up a centuries-old style distress call, which it turns out was sent out by a group of utopian colonists who decided the best way to deal with the fallout of World War III and all that devastation was in the early 22nd century to go off and form a colony that, you know, once they got there would abandon advanced tech. We find out when the Enterprise picks them all up, because their planet's about to be destroyed by solar flares or some space nonsense, that they're all deeply stereotypical,
chickens.
No, but with an Irish accent.
Well, I don't think... Oh, how would that sound? Oh, that's actually good.
Thank you. Yes, the point is, the colonists are all not Irish, but Irish. Just every fucking hurtful stereotype you can think of, and I retroactively feel bad about every time I've done a bad Irish accent on this show.
Not me.
Better than they were.
Probably. So they beam aboard, there's all kinds of stereotypical shenanigans. There is a cable knit midriff-bearing shirt. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it was like a cable-knit crop top.
I wear that.
With a cold shoulder as well, wasn't it? It was open shoulders, too?
Was
it cut like this?
I think it was
Was
just
it a bandeau?
She certainly didn't give Riker the cold shoulder.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That almost came out of my mouth.
All that nonsense happens, and then it turns out, there was another colony, and they go to find that, and there's...
The Mariposans.
Yes, and there's technically both a ton of people and only 5 people there.
We only see 3.
No, we saw several.
Yeah, really, show and don't tell, TNG. You couldn't hire 2 more fuckheads to throw in the background?
They didn't have enough triplets.
Yeah, you need to get triplets.
Yeah, so they go there, and it's like, basically that colony, there was an accident or a crash or something, only 5 people survived. It's not enough of a sort of a group to create a good, varied enough gene pool, so rather than constantly inbreeding, they just made a shitload of clones. But now, kind of like that old Michael Keaton picture, Multiplicity.
No one will bang them.
And also, they're because there were so many copies of copies, it's like they can only pull this off for like 50 more years before the cloning process will become non-viable. And somebody goes, wait a minute! Stereotypical Irish love breeding! And they decide to just dump all the Irish there, which, the local guy's wicked racist about. Almost as racist as this episode. And everything, I guess, is resolved. Oh! Also, again, this episode must have run short, because there was some bullshit about
Worf
having measles and then Klingon tea ceremonies.
They only gave him one fucking scene with that.
Yeah,
Where did it go?
Yeah, you feel like it was going to lead to something, and it didn't. It was pointless. It sucked.
I was really hoping we would see him and Pulaski go to
I would
Bone
watch
Zone,
that
but
episode. Episode sounds better.
The Adventures of Worf and Pulaski.
It did seem like they were maybe about to, Worf does maybe like older women.
I actually really liked their scene.
I did.
And then nothing happened.
Yeah,
this is like the second time there has been a sickbay interaction.
With Worf?
No, just, because it wasn't the first one... Geordie's eye replacement.
Yeah.
When there's like an abandoned subplot.
This is why no one liked Pulaski, because she keeps getting fucked out of good plots. Like, they give her half of a good plot, and then she's mean to Data again, and then we all hate her.
Yeah.
No.
But I really like Pulaski, and
Speaking of Pulaski, in
you gonna stuff her with crumpets?
I wish to. In Samaritan Snare, she's the one who saved Picard. For some reason, even though I knew what happened at the end of the episode, I kept thinking, it's going to be Crusher. It's going to be Doc Crusher. And that, for some reason, in my brain made more sense. Because, Pulaski's on a starship and could be how many miles, millions of light years away.
Well, isn't Crusher supposedly on Earth at, Starfleet Medical Headquarters?
She could be on vacation at whatever planet this was.
Because she's supposed to be the head of Starfleet.
I mean, I think the reason it feels like that is because it feels like it's supposed to be a big reveal. Who's this person? Even though I think I said to Caitlin, it's like...
Q!
Yeah. Sitting there, it's like, gee, I wonder if they're going to turn around and it's going to be Pulaski. Wow, I was right.
Yeah, Chris did.
Well, obviously...
Yeah, it was...
The whole point was to show how... Yeah, what was... Okay, so the whole idea with Picard even going, he could have gotten the procedure on the Enterprise.
Wait. That's the second episode.
Oh, that's the second episode?
Yeah.
No, it's the first episode.
No, it's Samaritan Snare.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
The Oyrish is the second episode.
Sorry, I'm an asshole. Jake, go on. The
whole
whole thing with him...
So the whole thing at the beginning, which, Picard having to go to... the starbase to get the treatment.
Surgery.
But Pulaski's like, I could do the treatment right here.
I'm good at it.
It's fine. We have all the facilities.
I'm the one who could fix it if it gets fucked up.
And the whole reason that Picard didn't want to go there is because he didn't want people to know that he had a prosthetic heart.
That he was weak.
That just doesn't seem like...
a logical thing for any fucking person to do.
I feel like Picard,
he's not a Vulcan.
Maybe Picard has some. Maybe yes, Picard may be a proud man, but at the same time, I feel as though this is an area. I cannot see Picard making that big a stink out of this issue that he would abandon the ship.
Yeah, that
on a mission that he was really excited about.
That feels like a kind of vanity that the show has not said to us that he has.
Yeah. I think they said they just continue to not know if Pulaski and he get along.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true. The writers have not decided that.
Yeah, he does seem to really dislike her.
Yeah, and even at the end, he seems terribly annoyed that she ultimately was the one that did it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my thing from personal experience recently. When your boss goes somewhere...
I was going to say, you have an artificial heart?
Yeah. And you don't know why... that's when rampant speculation starts.
Yeah.
That's true.
So, I'd be on the starship being like, oh my god, he has dick cancer. Clearly that's what's going on.
Yeah, well, he didn't even come up with a fucking ruse.
Yeah, he's just
It's
none of your fucking business.
I've got women to meet.
Holy shit, he's dying.
To speak French
And then
at.
he immediately just tells the whole story to Crusher on the way over there.
That also felt sort of out of character.
Not to Riker, who asked and should know, but to the boy whom he hates.
And who's just
maybe
going to
the
go
father.
back and tell Geordie and Data all about it?
Well, maybe he was hoping that he would fail the test and wouldn't be allowed back on the ship, so he figured it was a safe bet.
Well, no, it wasn't that he couldn't be on. He just wouldn't have been able to be an acting ensign anymore.
Yeah, but what good is he to
But then
anybody?
an acting ensign can't hang out on the bridge with everybody.
Yeah, he'd just go home to his mom.
No, but he could still, float around, and he tells Geordie, and then the problem is Geordie tells what's her name, who's making her second and final
Sonia.
appearance here.
Sonia Gomez.
And
This is the last we see of her, thank God.
And she just feels like, man, she's gonna go tell Barclay, and Barclay's gonna tell everybody.
Barclay isn't here yet.
No, I know, but
because we're gonna the dark secret of TNG is that Barclay is Sonia after a tragic teletransporter accident.
Turned inside out.
And it exploded.
Speaking of which, the Pakleds.
Oh God!
Do they not remind you a little bit of the
Thermians?
The Thermians.
I didn't even think of it.
Didn't occur to me.
Nope.
Just like they're
Gormless.
dopey
I think
innocents.
the Thermians are just so likable.
Yeah,
they're just so downright charming and cute, and these guys are just like there.
Well, also their makeup design. I think that's a good way. Like
the makeup design is really good,
but it's not cute.
No,
they've got those horrifying eyebrows and those weird extra little things on their lower lip that just makes it look like they're constantly drooling.
Yeah, I read that the makeup artists specifically designed them and cast men with various shapes, specifically so that they would look like non-threatening beings.
Oh, they struck me as threatening almost immediately.
Really?
Yeah, their makeup was kind of creepy.
Yeah, no, they looked like not trustworthy.
They were supposed to look dumb, like a Tweedledee Tweedledum situation.
Oh no, I didn't get that.
Well, they definitely had that, but they still think but it was more of an American McGee's
rotund.
Alice. Okay, so can we just talk about the elephant in the room?
Yeah,
Pachyderm in the room.
Yeah,
Because
I get it. Yeah, I
don't get
it's
it.
funny.
Pachyderm.
Pachyderm.
Oh, that's the joke.
Yeah, it's.
I thought
it's
pachyderm was a code word or something.
No, it's okay, Ames. It's just not funny.
yeah.
Why are you pouting? You didn't
I
make the
don't
bad
know what's
joke.
happening.
Okay.
It was
Anyway,
a really good
you
joke.
wanted to bring up elephants.
Yeah, so this was really fucking uncomfortable because it felt pretty apparent to me that they were trying to somehow make these guys look like they were intellectually disabled. And honestly, I feel like even the people of various sizes kind of fits into that in a way. It just felt really like they were trying to make these guys seem like they were low IQ, and it felt very fucking awkward for me. I was really uncomfortable, and
The two things I feel like they try to do to sort of save it, which in my opinion neither works, is a line from Data that's very easy to miss. Where he's like, well, they could be intellectually advanced, but just somehow not have
good speech,
advanced language.
Right. I mean, they do have and somehow mostly run a ship.
Right,
They're dum-dums.
which is capable of, sublight speed, which, I mean, for all that they were making fun of the ships in Okana, which were also sublight and only had lasers, they're like, ha, silly little ships. They were never like, the owners must be idiots. Meanwhile, fucking Geordie or somebody walks onto the bridge, is like, what happened? Their rubber band break? They were really immediately being very, not just condescending, but a little borderline cruel.
And right in front of them also.
Yeah,
which
Worf hadn't...
they expect them not to notice.
Yeah, and they hadn't muted. We know because Worf didn't say muted.
He always does.
Yeah. So... And again, then the seeming counterpoint is, oh yes, but see, they've outsmarted them. But it's like, you get the sense that a lot of the, what's the word I want?
Pachyderm.
No, a lot of the sort of
impetus, conflict.
No, but a lot of the sort of the way they're presented. Not as much
Facade.
of it as an act. Yes, there we go. Not as much of it is a facade as I think it should have been. By the end...
they were not playing dumb.
Yeah, you still get the
clear.
sense at the end they're still not terribly bright. They're very good at conniving and scheming.
They've been the recipients of many, many happy coincidences.
Yeah, they've figured out how to how to sort of deceive well. But you still get the sense they're not really terribly clever, which also makes no sense because, at the very least, they somehow came up with a space program. You know, even if a lot of the tech on the ship is stolen, at the very least, they had a very advanced...
They got up there in the first place.
Yeah, which it does not...
Or someone crash landed on their planet and they kind of jury-rigged it.
Maybe, that is possible.
Well, you know, guys,
Here's-
go ahead.
I was going to say, here's my perfectly reasonable explanation for how the Pakleds are in space.
You did it.
Well, that's one explanation. I was going to say they were not dum-dums, and then they contracted some kind of space disease
Symbiosis.
that murdered their brains,
Maybe.
Space slugs.
and they became dum-dums.
So you're saying they got some vaccines, maybe?
Maybe. could be.
Because, you know...
Because it does, even, like you say, even with their presumably having stolen all their technology, you still need to know what you're doing to operate a spaceship.
Yeah, like, they had to get into space. And even
It's
then,
like those chicks from Spock's brain.
Yeah.
Maybe they just have the knowledge helmet.
Maybe.
Yeah, but
Somewhere.
those are women.
But yeah, and again, like, because it wasn't enough of a facade, and they were still, I feel like, resorting to a lot of hurtful, stereotypical representation of, you know, how people tend to think the intellectually disabled present. It just, their entire point, if there was one, beyond being awful, just sort of collapses in on itself and doesn't work, especially, as you know, Caitlin, you pointed out, you know, at the end, the fact that even for Star Trek, the unsubtle coding during the
Oh my
explanation to
goodness.
Geordie at the end.
Hours will seem like days was way better.
Yeah,
Oh,
like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
was, like, there was still no respect for the Pakleds. Even after they realized what had happened, like, maybe they're cleverer than we think. It was... Everyone in the Enterprise just, by the end, looked like an asshole, with the exception of Worf, because he was the one person who was like, we should probably assume these guys are a threat until we... Okay.
Yeah, is this the first time that Worf makes, like, a pretty legit recommendation and gets shut down, or have we already seen this?
think
in
we
other
had
happens
one
every
more.
time.
He's been shut down
Every
before.
suggestion
I mean,
he's
I know
ever
it always
made.
happens, but I mean, I feel like we haven't really seen it happen much up to this point. Like, I know at some point it becomes a trope of the series, but
Yeah,
I
like
feel
him getting...
Getting his
Claws
Shut up,
to
Worf.
kicked.
Yeah, but this was definitely one of the...
Shut up, Worfley.
I was just
Well,
thinking that.
so-
as
Were
well.
you?
Yeah.
All right, so the Pakleds, right?
Yarp.
So the thing at the end, and maybe the thing at so the whole feint at the end, the whole trick, the communication. The,
I did not. I didn't know what they were
understand.
going
So
on.
maybe I'm a bit confused.
What did the 24
maybe,
mean?
but I've got you pegged.
They told him later.
But I still don't know what to do
Oh, Jesus.
with those tossed salads and scrambled eggs.
He doesn't.
They're going again.
Good night, Seattle. We love you.
Well, so I think the 24 had
that was
something...
like Jerry Seinfeld.
The 24 was the countdown.
Well, they told the 24 way later, though. Like, if you were trying to tell me something about 24, I'd think, like, all right, in 24 minutes, you're going to do this thing.
Okay,
No,
keep
that
it
was-
Southern.
Not when the thing is happening. It'll take 24 seconds for such and such to happen.
That's true, but that's what it was for some reason.
And then they announced that anyway.
Yeah,
He didn't need to know the 24. He just needed to know that, oh, God, immediately I have to do something.
The plan was needlessly convoluted. And it's one of those things, like, even with, you know, obvious coding...
They
we
could
as
have just
the
made it the
audience-
fucking Corbomite maneuver and said, we're going to shoot Corbomite at you. And then LaForge would figure out, like, Kirk's old trick,
I read
eh?
that, yeah. But only Riker has read the old stories.
Yeah, they could have Corbomite, but they could have done a Corbomite maneuver. Like,
Yeah.
that's not too hard to think
I
of.
also would have been way happier if whatever they'd done with the whatever the fuck they expelled from the Bussard collectors had shut down the shields, and that's how they got Geordie.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't convinced of these guys who'd been pretty hardcore for a lot of it. We're now just like, oh, alright, you can have him back, we guess. Like, wait, what? There's no... What?
Yeah.
No. You still have him. You've still got this bargaining chip. Why are you giving him up?
Also, why did Geordie go to the ship all by himself? Why, like...
Because
a
they
good question.
underestimated the package.
Yeah,
They should have just
Worf
given
should
them
have gone.
It doesn't even
Gomez.
matter. Like, that should just be a rule, right? You don't send a single guy onto an unknown
No, but
spaceship.
these guys are so fucking stupid. Obviously, they're no threat.
Well, and someone did say, I think it might have been Worf, but someone did say, is it wise to send our
Worf is the
chief
only smart
engineer?
I think it was Worf.
Yeah.
See, I think they should have sacrificed Gomez and then just left.
Yeah, you send a couple of low-ranking engineers and at least one security person. You always should just send a security person.
Well, obviously,
The people-
if Picard was there, that mistake never would have happened.
The people on the other ship don't have to know their security. They all wear the same color shirt, for Christ's
and
sake.
they thought Riker was ready for the Ares.
Yeah, seriously.
What a
Dipshit.
fucking amateur. Yeah, so I felt both of these episodes made me incredibly uncomfortable, but this one was definitely bad.
Yeah.
Especially at the end when they were like, we are not smart. And I was just like, oh.
You know, it was...
It hurts. It hurts my soul.
So, I mentioned this during the intro, and it relates to the other plot, but it does bother me. This is now like the second or third time in this season that the idea that shuttles aren't warp capable has come up.
But they've never been warp capable.
But why does it have nacelles then?
Well, even
They've got a theme.
Even the TOS ones had like little things. I think they're more like pontoons.
I get that, but with TOS and even the shuttle we saw earlier, the Albaz, whatever it was, I was more willing to buy it as sort of like a pontoon thing, because like with the TOS shuttles, even though they were nacelle shaped, they were just a single solid color. These ones on this shuttle, a bigger shuttle, had actively like the same sort of brightly lit up nacelles like you have on a starship.
Well, what powers the shuttles? Because I know, like, the thing that makes the starships warp capable is their matter antimatter fusion something or other with chocolate chips, whatever it is.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Maybe they're
Cherry on
impulse
Is
nacelles.
that a thing?
It is now.
Why not?
I mean, I guess you need the shiny tips at the end, because I know that Booside collectors are how they collect space crap for fuel sometimes. I also feel like eventually shuttles do become warp capable, but they're like capped at warp 2 or something.
And there are there are warp shuttles, and there's things like runabouts, which
Yes.
are little spaceships.
They're like yachts, basically.
Yeah, they're not really shuttles.
But I don't know, it's just like, if you're going to have this thing that's not warp capable, don't put something on it that visually has, up until now, meant warp.
Yeah.
I don't know, it's aggravating. Maybe it shouldn't be.
Well,
but...
I want to. So if we're going to go ahead and point out some like plot hole type stuff, I'd like to bring one up relating to the shuttle trip. Right. So they established the shuttle is not warp capable.
Yep.
Which is why we have to talk to Wesley for so fucking long.
Right. So warp speed,
Not a good sandwich, though.
Unless there are faster than light sub warp speeds, which I don't know if that's a thing. I don't know if that's ever been said.
I don't know.
My understanding was that warp speed is faster than light. Anything that's not warp speed is
sublight.
Isn't warp 1 exactly the speed of light?
That's what I saw, too.
I think that's what it is.
That's the idea.
And then it's an exponential.
Yeah, it's like a logarithmic scale from there.
Yeah.
So here's the thing: if they're traveling sublight,
yep,
and it's taking them how long?
6 hours.
6 hours to get there. It could the Enterprise could literally go there in like half a second at warp 5.
Yeah.
Drop them
off, leave,
have an adventure,
go on their mission, meet the Pakleds, and be back in time to save Picard from the heart.
Well, and that's why, like, at the end, they can get Pulaski there in time.
Yeah.
Because they can go fucking warp 9 if they want.
No, they'd overshoot it by miles. If they did that.
Straight into a sun.
Anytime there's, like, a plot on the show that involves a deep space shuttle adventure, it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No.
Because why would you do... If you needed to go someplace far away, you'd take the ship. Or you'd take a bigger shuttle, like a runabout.
Yeah, it's completely ridiculous.
Yeah.
Because, again, every plot is solved by... And even if it was a warp-capable shuttle, if you assume part of the issue is it has a much lower warp factor because it's so tiny, you still then just take the big ship that can go warp 9.
Also, speaking of which...
The blueprints are out, everyone.
I'm going to go take a big ship.
We got the blueprints here. We got to take a quick look at something here. I believe it's going to be on deck 14, maybe?
If you actually have the decks memorized, I will be doubly impressed.
I might not.
That's Troy's massage party.
All right, here we go. We got the blueprints here. No, it's not dock deck 14. I was mistaken. Actually, might be like deck 19 or 20. Anyway, it's deck 17.
Okay.
Way off.
The captain's yacht entry airlock.
Oh, they never use the captain's yacht.
They never use the captain's yacht.
They were supposed to on this episode, but I think they either ran out of time or money to make it work.
Why not both?
Good question. Anyway, well, if you're done talking about blueprints, I had a question about ship-related things like that.
Okay.
And there was a moment where they were like telling the Pakleds, oh, well, maybe if you're too fucked up in the ship, we'll just tractor you somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then they put their shields up and they have Geordie trapped. And the first thing I think is, we were talking about tractor beams. Can we tractor a ship with
its shields up?
shields up?
That's a good question.
And bring it with us while we go and rescue Picard?
What do you mean you don't know?
I think no, I don't think no, because oftentimes, like when the
that would fix so many things.
Which is why they can't do it.
When the Borg were trying to tractor them a couple weeks ago, they had to drain the shields first before they could tractor them.
Yeah, Ames, weren't you fucking paying attention?
Yeah, you're right.
No, I was too distracted by Q's beautiful face.
But yeah, no, Jake's right. Like, however a tractor beam works must be disrupted by a shield.
Yeah, I think that's.
I mean, the other question is, if you're tractoring someone along, then they can just keep shooting you while you tractor
That's
them.
true too. Yeah, you don't want to pull them into weapons range.
Yeah, I mean the real problem with the Pakleds was that they.
You almost said pachyderms.
I know.
You came this close.
Pac-Man.
I did.
Did I just kick your foot? I'm sorry.
Cool,
Yeah. So
liked
the real problem there, I mean, it wasn't that they couldn't have. They didn't want to hurt Geordie. Right?
Yeah.
But here's the deal, right?
What?
Geordie fucked up. He let himself be disarmed by a bunch of fat dum-dums.
Well, it's because no one on the Enterprise takes security seriously except Worf.
Yep.
Because no one has ever
Yar would have
taken. Well, that's
Yar-
true.
Yar
But she's
took it.
dead.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she's dead, isn't she?
But
She
she
would
took
have
it
been really
so
obnoxious
seriously,
about it,
she's
though.
dead.
She would have been like, excuse me, sir. It is my duty as security officer to inform you. Worf would have just been like, no, let's shoot him.
Yeah, no. No one has ever cared about security in the history of Star Trek so far.
Except Worf.
Yeah.
Well, no one with decision-making powers, I mean.
Troy was almost useful.
Troy was in this one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
she came on and was like,
She was
Geordie
like-
is in trouble. And it was like, fuck off, Troy. She's like, no, really, Geordie's in trouble.
No, really, I can sense... Guys, I'm an empath.
If
Why
only
wasn't
you were-
I up here
Yeah.
when we first made contact?
Only
I
you
could
were
have
on
told
the
you.
bridge.
Is Geordie off the ship? Fucking Troy. But no, she was good this week. I liked it. Because no one... Like, is she always a Cassandra? Do they just never listen to her? Does she come up, like, babbling bullshit about her feelings and they're all just like, shut the fuck up, Troy's Lee?
I don't know.
It doesn't work as well as Worf's Lee.
No, good try,
I
though.
don't
Thank
know.
you.
She's terrible. She like that.
This
The
episode
way
was
she's written is
terrible.
Yeah, this was
unfortunate.
a bad week.
Well, there is some interesting stuff out of this episode, though. We do get the backstory to Picard's. Well, we don't get the backstory. We get the whole
story.
We get the whole story. We learn that Picard has a artificial heart.
Spoilers.
I didn't.
This whole episode is
in the
spoilers.
episode.
I actually, so that's the other thing I was saying to Caitlin I didn't get into detail. It was like, oh, I had no idea they established this now. Because I'd never seen this one.
Mm.
But I have seen a later one where this is a very important fact. And I was like, oh, wow, I always assumed they just created
Tapestry,
that
it's called.
for that episode. So I was like, oh, no, this is an older fact than I realized.
Well,
Good
no
for them.
spoilers because I haven't seen
Yeah,
that
no,
yet.
I
Yeah,
know.
I like continuity. Continuity can be good.
It can.
Well, I mean, especially, it's a major character
Yeah.
trait, right?
Yes. Lacking a heart. It seems to be pretty important.
So, I mean...
Oh, when you put it that way, it's a little on the nose.
Ah.
Anyway, the point is, we do get this interesting little tidbit about Picard's health,
Yeah.
and not just that.
And his youthful indiscretions.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like he picked a fight with
Nausicaans.
Nausicaans, yeah, and those guys sound none too friendly.
No.
And he got his ass handed to him.
And his heart.
Yeah,
Lacerated.
Yeah.
Do you think he was more embarrassed by having an artificial heart
Or
or
being
by
bald?
being made a bitch by these Nausicaans?
Oh, I don't know.
By being bald, no.
I wonder if it's also...
He shaves his head. He's not even naturally bald. That's the look he's going for.
I mean, the other thing is, like, it needs repair constantly. That's kind of embarrassing.
No, I think this is the first time.
Yeah?
Because, I think what he said at one point during the show.
And I'm long overdue to have my heart rehearted.
Well, I think he said that the one that they gave him before was defective and needed to be repaired.
Wesley's
kind of embarrassing.
Wesley's
like,
why would anybody
fault.
fucking give you a fucking defective one? Good question, Wesley.
It was a fucking manufacturing flaw. It's under warranty. Jesus.
Yeah, it was recalled. Get over it.
Yeah.
I did read that the writers wrote this episode and they wanted to reflect on the need for things as bearing on modern society.
So wait, was that supposed to be the whole thing with the Pakleds?
Yeah.
Or the thing with Picard having a fake ticker?
Why not both?
Mostly the Pakleds, because, they go out and they collect things, because they're a very materialistic society.
They need things to make them go.
Yeah.
And make them feel smart.
Yeah. I gotta say, it was a little weird, but I didn't mind a lot of the, bonding on the shuttle stuff. It was kind of amusing to see Picard so uncomfortable.
I did love there was a moment where Wesley's being annoying at him, and Picard gets up, gets 6 feet away from him, and then sits down as if he's gotten all the way in another room.
Yeah.
I mean, he got as far away as he could on that shuttle.
While still having a chair.
Meanwhile, Wesley is scrapbooking frantically.
I did like...
This is my trip with Picard!
You would have made a great dad.
Yeah, that was weird.
Oh, because he too suspects that maybe, just maybe, Picard is his old man.
But it's funny, too, though, because we have a really fairly sudden flip from, I don't want to be near you, to, come on, son, you must want a sandwich. It's been 5 minutes since you last ate.
Can I also point out, though, how, replicator technology, right?
Yeah.
You ordered the food that you intend to eat. It's not if I had a replicator, I would just eat whatever I wanted to eat. And I wouldn't care, and it would be fine.
Yeah, it's someone else's job to make their own food.
Even if it was, it would be like, hey, Wes, you want me to replicate you something? What do you want? No, Wes, here, have this fucking tuna salad that you
Have
hate.
this cress sandwich that I made you.
Yeah.
It did look like it might have been Chris, yeah.
Well, because he was having it with tea, so I was imagining... Coffee. Oh, was it?
Yeah,
Son
he mentioned it was coffee.
Oh, yeah, and he's like, you're
little
12
French
years
press.
old, you want some coffee?
He's 16.
Oh, God, it was in a French press!
They don't call it...
Yeah, that's a dead coffee preparation.
Yeah, they don't call it that anymore.
Yeah,
for sure.
Freedom Press.
Freedom Press! What the fuck? Wow, Freedom Press, and then we failed high-fiving so bad. There's nothing more American than that, is there?
Pretty white high five, you two.
Wow.
We're very white.
So yeah, this episode...
Which one?
Samaritan Snare.
Pretty bad.
Oh, Christ, are we still talking about this episode?
Somehow we're still talking about this episode.
Well, because we have to just say, just bad. Hurtful stereotypes.
I didn't think it was bad, per se, because also, I didn't read it very stereotypically.
Dopey episode.
It was, but it was not uninteresting.
And again, I do feel like the complications with the surgery at the end were just because they'd run short.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like they
why
send him off to
beginning.
why have him sent off to have surgery if it's going to go well?
So him and West have an excuse to be in a shuttle together for 6 hours.
But also so Pulaski has an excuse to be like
a character on the show.
You can totally trust me. I'm good at my job.
And of course,
unlike Dr. McCoy. No offense. I'm actually a good doctor. I love McCoy with all my heart.
McCoy's
and soul.
a terrible doctor.
Okay,
I'm the one who tries to say he's a good doctor.
I know, but I'm just...
Caitlin and I know. He will kill you by accident all the time.
They also,
he'll bring you back, but then he'll kill you again.
They do also get to introduce the horrible maroon nun habits.
Oh, yeah.
Did those come back?
Unfortunately, a lot in Deep Space Nine, from what I recall.
I was like, why did you bring him to this weird
like
temple of monks for a surgery?
Costume that they have.
I know, and it's ugly.
Yeah, but it's really bad.
I'm confused why they need it, because I assume, the surgical scrubs and stuff are mostly for hygienic purposes and shit, and they can live in a place where they can just have, fucking nanobots scrub the air.
Yeah, no.
Little Windex bottles going.
No, that's true.
I love that visual. Please write that. There has to be a story about these fucking air-scrubbing nanobots.
They tried to have air-scrubbing nanobots, and you know what they got?
Hell.
The Borg.
So...
Up the long ladder, super long, and down the snake, because that's how the game works.
What is this title a reference to?
It's a poem or some shit,
Of course it is.
bet.
Does this one also not make sense?
I didn't
Where
look.
silence has lease?
I didn't find it.
Because I'm really curious.
Irish.
Oh no, it's not
the Irish fucking thing.
It's an old... Jake!
Sorry. No.
It's from an old Irish adage. up the long ladder and down the short rope or something. It's about hanging people.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, up the long ladder,
which
down
case,
the short
yeah.
rope. You're absolutely right.
What's that got to do with this? Okay.
I
That's
did
how
look
it's
it up. I
kind
thought
of
it was
If
Irish.
they hadn't
yeah.
figured out a place to leave the Irish,
Because
they
that's
were
what
gonna
they
hang
did.
them.
That's what they did with the writers afterwards.
Good. So yeah, I was saying like, wow, normally I'm one of the first people to make bad Irish jokes, but holy shit, this was racist.
Yeah, apparently the Irish American organizations around wherever complained, as did pro-life organizations.
I read about that one, yeah.
Wait, pro-life? That was the whole thing. It was all about fucking.
As far as they were concerned, murdering the clones was a pro-abortion message.
Oh.
Yeah, Riker says at one point, like, I have control of my body or something, and they're like, nope, nope, nope,
But
nope, no one does.
But the resolution to the episode is let's force the women to have babies, which is exactly what the pro-lifers
that was the
want.
most uncomfortable part.
It
for
was.
Me. I mean, I can make fun of the Irish all fucking day, but when you're telling women, you have to have at least 3 children off of 3 different men, and this is your life now.
Yeah, but the only woman they actually presented it to was into it, so it's okay.
Yeah.
You're telling me I can have 3 husbands?
Oh, do they have to be with him? Oh boy.
She just wanted Riker.
I'm gonna have to fake a headache 3 times a week now.
Oh,
So here's the thing, the up the ladder thing. Up the long ladder and down the short rope, to hell with King Billy and God bless the Pope. If that doesn't do, we'll tear him in 2 and send him to hell with their red, white, and blue.
Nothing to do with this
They
episode.
didn't like the English, did they?
Nope.
Still don't, largely.
But yeah, no, I think it's just like, what's an Irish thing to do, this thing?
Yeah.
So,
You could. There was definitely Irish bingo.
Discrimination?
You could do a bingo.
Oh,
here.
bingo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Huh,
We had-
are they drunks?
Oh yeah.
Any pregnant women?
Oh yeah.
Do they make their own
Are
clothes?
they farmers?
Are a lot
They
of them
sure as
ginger?
Shit. Yep, you got that.
Oh, and with the free space, that's bingo.
the lead guy just looked like a fucking leprechaun.
The still. They
Fuck
made a
Danilo.
still.
Danilo O'Dell.
Of course.
Who I looked up his actor, actually English, as was his daughter. Most famous perhaps to our generation as the voice of Basil of Baker Street in The Grace Mouse Detective.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
Which is a great movie. I love that movie.
So really, the only Irish person in this episode
Cole
is Cole Meany.
Yeah.
Who
Who
probably-
I'm amazed he didn't quit after this.
How many did he
protest.
have? He was in the transporter scene. Was he in any other scenes?
No.
That's
No, he was
silly.
just
that
there.
seems like a waste.
He was just there for Odell to be all like,
Really,
I should have known a good Irishman was in charge.
The daughter,
Brian,
Brenna, should have hit on him and not Riker.
Yeah, but have you seen Cole Meany and have you seen Riker?
Why when
I
they
mean-
She should have hit on Data.
why when they
everyone
beamed up?
does.
Why when they beamed up did the hay also get beamed up?
That is an excellent
They've
question.
never beamed up the floor before.
Nope.
That's like
They were all holding some hay in their hands, and then they threw it.
Guys, I thought you were listening. Cole Meany is Irish. He knew what he was expecting.
he's like, oh, there's a bunch of hay and pregnant ladies down there. Must be the Irish.
Actually, no. Here's the thing, right? He'd seen, like Riker or Picard wasn't listening when they were trying. Oh yeah, Picard wasn't listening when Riker was trying to explain there was livestock.
Mm-hmm.
But O'Brien had he'd scanned. He was like, oh Christ, there's livestock.
There's
No,
hay.
do it with the accent.
I mean, Cole Meany doesn't have a thick accent.
Nuclear vessels. Jesus, there's fucking livestock. All right, you know what? I am not letting them shit on my I just fucking waxed this thing. I'm bringing up the hay.
Ha.
That was good. Nicely done.
Didn't sound like O'Brien, though.
No, because I can't do his accent.
Subtle.
Yeah,
It's a subtle accent,
It's
yeah. If you do it right, you sound like you're not doing it at all.
kinda. But it still sounds not American.
It's almost like Irish people aren't just stereotypical leprechauns.
Like, seriously.
They're not. Oh, sorry, I couldn't tell you weren't Irish because I couldn't tell from your accent.
It's like, did literally
Where's your little green suit, Cole Meany?
did they not think to stop and ask, like, so Colm, is there a way we could make this
More
less
Irish?
racist?
Oh.
Nope.
Yeah, but here's the thing. It was 1988. People didn't care about making fun of the intellectually disabled. Hell, the term intellectually disabled didn't exist yet.
That's
and
true.
they definitely didn't give a fuck about making fun of the Irish.
Yeah, that's true. I
Please.
mean,
The
hell,
term
this,
Irish didn't even exist back then.
True.
Yeah, they just called them potato heads.
but I mean, no, you're right. I mean, the 80s was when
Jesus.
fucking, what's that horrible movie I always use an example came out?
Leprechaun.
No, there was this movie
No,
that,
but probably also right.
There was this movie that came out. I can't remember the title. It used to be on Comedy Central a lot when Comedy Central was new, when they only owned like the rights to 5 films. And it's about this guy
Porkies.
who wants to go to Harvard, but he can't afford it.
Good Will Hunting?
No. So he goes and actually like gets injections to turn his skin darker.
Oh, Soul Man!
Yeah, Soul Man.
There we go. Although in reality it was just really bad blackface makeup. And in the
Yikes.
80s, everyone was like, this is fine.
I don't think
So-
I think people were not thinking that was fine.
I-
I think enough people thought it was fine to make a movie about. But yeah, Soul Man is a disgrace of a movie.
Let's
Yeah,
find
but
out how
let's-
Soul Man was...
Can we put the trailer for Soul Man up on
Yes.
Facebook? Because
Yeah, I'll find
it's
it.
pretty bad.
Yeah, no, like I said, I rarely like look at something making fun of, especially a culture that's one of my own backgrounds, and go, guys, would you chill? But with this one, I was like, wow, this is wrong on... And actually, now that I think of it, wasn't this also a time when things were particularly kind of bad between England and Ireland? Like,
Have
were
they
there a
ever
lot
been
of bombing?
good?
But I mean, I feel like
In
there's a period
89?
of particularly bad bombings
This is
in the
like-
80s.
Yeah, I feel like that was earlier in the 80s.
Was it?
This was
Still, it wasn't
getting
very
better.
far removed.
Do you know what the tagline was for Soul Man?
No.
Guess who's coming to college?
No.
Oh my god!
What?
Check off!
What the fucking
Nice.
shit?
Wasn't it also like he was a basketball star?
I don't
Okay,
know.
I
I never
don't know.
saw it.
This movie made $35 million at the box office. You want to tell me this
In
wasn't a
80s
success?
money?
In '86. You want to tell me that people weren't into it? Here's reception. Here we go. Controversy. The film was widely criticized for featuring
Shocking.
a Caucasian actor wearing blackface. When the film was released, some protests took place within the black community. But who cares what they think? It's the 80s, right? NAACP chapter president Willis Edwards said in a statement at the time, "We certainly believe it is possible to use humor to reveal the ridiculousness of racism. However, the unhumorous and quite seriously made plot point of Soul Man is that no black student could be found in all of Los Angeles who is academically qualified for a scholarship geared towards blacks." In defending the film, producer Steve Tisch said it was like Tootsie. It used comedy as a device to expose sexual stereotyping. I think Soul Man uses it to explode racial stereotyping. It was only controversial because Spike Lee made a thing of it, said Ray Don Chong years later. He'd never seen the movie and he just jumped all over it. He was just starting and pulling everything down in his wake. If you watch the movie, it's really making white people look stupid. It, the film, is adorable and it didn't deserve it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I say we watch it and do a 10-4
Oh
on it.
god, I'd rather boil my head.
Howell later explained, "I'm shocked at how truly harmless that movie
Head's
is.
gonna be hard boiled.
And how the anti-racial message involved in it is so prevalent. This isn't a movie about blackface. This isn't a movie that should be considered irresponsible on any level. It's very funny. It made me much more aware of the issues we face on a day-to-day basis. And it made me much more sensitive to racism. It's an innocent movie. It's got innocent messages. And it's got some very, very deep messages."
Yeah, the fucking jazz singer's an innocent movie too. Alright.
Oh, Robert Downey Jr. just did it in Tropic Thunder.
That's true.
Well, which is also fucking uncomfortable, so thanks.
So, back to... It's not blackface. What is this
This has
exactly?
been
What's Irish
Blackface
face?
Corner.
It's
I don't know, mashed potato face.
God.
green face. I don't know.
Green
That's the
face.
color associated with that.
Orange,
Shamrock
orange,
shake.
white, and green face.
So one thing I actually did like about this episode was there was a very nice, for me, aesthetic choice when they were looking at the sort of the side cutaway view of the old colony ship on Picard's monitor.
Oh, yeah.
It had a similar silhouette, like not as long or as sleek, but a very similar silhouette to the Botany Bay.
Yeah, it did a little bit.
So it's doing a good job of being like, all right, it's from this
Except-
early era of
It's
space
from
travel.
2123.
Yeah, no,
Nowhere
that's the thing.
near
It's like
the Picard
150 years
Right, there's a
Botany
big
Bay.
gap there, but they're still saying like for a very long time.
They're trying to
this was
connect
what-
the dots. Be like, this is what they would have done 100 years later.
But
Yeah.
let's talk
They're trying
about...
to sort. Yeah,
Chris stops it and is like, "Do you see what that looks like?" And I'm like, "No, I have literally no
Oh,
clue."
see, I didn't even look, so.
So, now, I know we're still relatively early in Star Trek canon.
Cannon!
But I do have to call the canon cops on timeline violations,
okay.
because we know that Zephram Cochrane's first warp flight
Mhm.
was in 2060 something, I think.
That was 2070 something.
Either way,
And then he banged a cloud.
mid 21st century.
Warp speed.
They make first contact with the Vulcans, and not very long afterward, within Zephram Cochrane's lifetime, there are there's a warp capable fleet of
Yeah.
ships.
Yeah.
So
Cochrane's his lifeline is super long, though, because of the cloud being.
Well, yes, that's true.
But at first he had a normal
before
lifespan.
he vanished
Got it.
from Earth.
But then I think at this point, the only word we have on Cochrane is that one episode of TOS. And I think in that one, he invented warp drive in the early 21st century, not late. So.
Okay, so it's even earlier in that case. So the point being that the idea that that they were still in the post-atomic horror in the 2220s doesn't make any sense. There's been well more than 50 years.
Well, are they supposed to still be in the post-atomic horror, or just it's still fresh enough in people's memories that that's why this group has sprung up? Because that was the impression I was under.
Yeah, I don't remember what the timeline for the post-atomic
I still don't
is.
think it's very realistic that they would have that this would have happened in the way that they describe it.
Yeah, we still got the Amish.
Yeah, we do.
So there's
Not
space
after
elf.
World War III.
Exactly.
Well, someone has to renew the great tradition.
I don't know. To me, it just seemed like the implication was that, this is like some primitive space stuff.
That is true. That aspect doesn't quite work.
And it's like, but they've had warp ships now for decades.
Yeah.
Well, the post-atomic horror could have destroyed a lot of them. We don't know.
No, the whole war was before warp.
Yeah.
In that case, I
World War
understand.
III is
I
like in the
understand
20...
and I'm now confused as well.
Yeah, so it's weird.
I need a timeline.
You do, the thing is...
Color-coded.
So this is, again, the problem is this is based on stuff that we haven't gotten to yet and won't for quite some time. But the difference between, Warp 1 and 2 and Warp 5 is crazy.
Oh, yeah.
And so even, an early warp ship, that its max speed is Warp 2, it is going to be a schlep to the next nearest planet. That's actually even a point that comes up in Enterprise where, a lot of civilian vessels and, cargo ships and stuff still can do, maybe Warp 2 or 3. And what is a relatively short jaunt for something like the Enterprise, which can make 5, is a month's or sometimes even a year's-long journey.
You know what would be a cool Star Trek episode that I don't think exists?
What?
Would be the Enterprise or another ship coming across a generation ship from Earth that is still en route. And they just,
pass it.
They just pass it.
They just pass right on by.
God,
It's the ship
suck.
from WALL-E.
Yeah, they come across a generation ship from Earth and it's passing Pluto.
You're not even a planet anymore.
So, a huge problem in this episode, aside from the stereotyping.
The ending.
In that.
Oh.
You didn't need the first colony at all.
See, here's the thing. I'm looking at this episode, and I'm thinking, they have 3 interesting plots. They did none of them justice.
Okay, what are the 3 of them?
Well, there's the Worf going through his version of Ponfar and making out with Pulaski, which could be a movie.
Yep.
I would watch it.
There's the coming across an old Earth colony that is pre-agrarian and introducing them to the present and saving them or whatever else.
Yep.
And there's this cloning idea.
Yeah.
The cloning idea is very, very interesting. That they mashed all of these ideas together and forced an ending that felt like I got slapped in the face.
Yeah.
And
It's just icky. The ending's just
the ending's
gross.
really icky. And it's like, you can't force these people to do anything. This isn't your job.
Yeah,
You're just fucking Starfleet. You have nothing to do with them.
The only
Picard's like, well, we can't force you to go, but we'll have to separate you from your family, and it's gonna suck a lot. So you might as well just go get fucked all the time.
Yeah, the only person they consult on the plan
Odell.
is Odell.
And he's drunk half the time.
Yeah, no, he is not a you might as well just made a deal with Harcourt fucking Mudd.
They're going to say Harvey Dent.
He'd flip a coin first.
I know.
They didn't consult the rest of the community.
They didn't bother to ask the women.
Yeah.
The women!
Wasn't he already trying to sell his daughter?
Pretty much.
To Picard, right off the bat.
He was like, Riker, this Prime Minister,
His adult
Wilson Granger.
Yeah.
Who looks old enough that I can see why she's still available, but...
Wow.
She's a horrid cunt.
Well, she's, a fiery bonny wee lass.
Yeah, it's again just stereotypes.
Yeah.
Just fiery Irish women.
Fire-ish
There you go.
women.
But yeah, no, you could either have done just a story about finding this colony, and the story could have... Because the problem is they were way too ready to give up this life they'd been leading. And be like,
True.
yeah, let's join the 21st century.
I mean, to be explained, were they living underground for one thing?
It sounds like it.
How do you raise sheep and crops underground?
Very carefully.
Don't know.
Yeah, especially if they're not using technology.
But to tell them, like, oh, the solar flares will destroy your planet, like, I could be convinced someone would be convinced of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd convince them in 5 fucking minutes.
No.
But wait, if they didn't have technology, why would the solar flares have caused a problem?
They were somehow going to fuck up the planet,
isn't that
not just the
usually the
tech.
issue?
If they're really bad, they can...
Somehow.
They're
They
also
can
getting
roast-
sucked
roast
into
us.
the
Yeah, they
sun.
could
Was that part
They
of
could
it?
No, I'm
blast
lying.
off the ionosphere or something if they're really strong.
Really?
But so the episode could have been.
That happened to us?
It could if there was if the sun.
I mean, hopefully we kind of
exploded.
deserve it.
Have I already... It exploded. Have I mentioned before that I have a friend on Facebook?
You have.
On this podcast?
Yeah.
Damn. Well, this
If
episode.
you have mentioned you have a friend.
Well, this episode's for Jim, if he ever listens.
They'll never listen.
No, he won't.
People who believe in that kind of thing never listen.
But
Sun?
I'm not convinced of it.
But yeah, so the plot could have been, one, convincing these people they need to come to the Enterprise. You know, explaining to them, like, no, you don't understand. This isn't a temporary thing. The planet won't support life after this. And then, like, try and decide, all right, do we find a new planet for you? You know, where you can keep doing this. Maybe some people are like, maybe we want to join the future, and
then
that's the conflict.
And then Riker ends up in a meaningful relationship with the woman instead of dropping it after one fucking...
then, like-
By that, you mean he winds up with a fucking pregnant wife because she's obviously Catholic and they're obviously not using contraception, or...
always
and one of them
ovulating.
turns out to be like a money-grubbing Wall Street guy, and another one turns out to be a musician.
No, God,
that
no,
has to
no.
replicate a guitar.
No.
Oh, that's
What's
where you're
this?
going. This is
We've
from
already
the
had the
Unfrozen
episode.
episode.
Yeah, we've already had the episode of people
When the-
from the
you
the
remember-
past.
Oh, yeah,
When,
yeah,
when
yeah.
the
That's-
Romulans were back.
I've got stocks!
That's a little different, though, because these are people who, like, had no choice. With these people, the idea would be, like, they would have had a choice to be like, all right, do you want us to find you a new planet, or do you want to just join the future? And maybe, you know, people could disagree, families would split, blah, blah, blah. Like, that could have been an episode.
There is an episode. That is an episode.
So there we go.
We haven't gotten to it yet.
And then you could have had a different episode, which is finding this other colony.
Yeah, the ethics of cloning, which is fascinating because we have so much of that in today's society.
Yeah, and there's this really, like, proper ethical discussion
We've
you could
killed
have had.
so many clones. Do you know how many clones we've killed?
No.
Because they're not allowed to be viable?
Oh, no.
I don't know how many, but it's happened, is the
Really?
is the point.
Of what?
Of human clones.
What?
I don't. What?
I don't want to
Where are
live.
you- where are you
I don't
getting
want to
this
live in this
information?
world. The Weekly World News.
Yes!
Okay, it's got the third largest circulation in the
I
world.
mean, I'm pro-choice, so I think I have to be okay with that.
Yeah, it's just...
I don't know about clones.
Okay,
But
okay,
like when,
well.
when they do like
experiments and
test,
stuff.
well, like they don't do experiments on human embryos.
I don't know.
They probably do. The government's doing it somewhere.
I don't know. Apparently, they created the first human embryos in January of 2008 and didn't allow them to go past the blastocyte
Yeah,
size.
yeah, but not that.
How long is
I'm pretty
that?
sure it's
5
illegal in the
days?
United States.
Oh,
anyway.
that's real early.
I think that was in China or something.
Oh, maybe. Well, the first human hybrid clone was made using cow eggs and cells out of a man's leg in 1998, and those were destroyed after 12 days.
And the cowman,
That I read,
and the cowman
because why not?
escaped and is still roaming the countryside.
And his name is Donald Trump.
Nice.
But it is true that when
That's an
people
insult to
do
cowmen.
in vitro fertilization,
Oh yeah, they ditch shitloads of.
they make a whole bunch of them
of
and then
embryos.
and then
Yeah.
They picked the shiniest one.
pick the best one.
Well, I think some just don't take or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, but
they-
and that's why
like
you.
12
it's
in
very-
there.
No, that's why you wind up with so many
Listen.
triplets and stuff when they're doing that stuff. Is 'cause
it's not
they
brain
take.
surgery, okay?
It's not rocket surgery.
But yeah, you could have had a whole episode about the ethics of cloning, the ethics of them, like, stealing the cells.
Yeah,
and then
kidnapping Riker and Pulaski to clone them.
And, like, I mean,
that
there-
could be cool.
Yeah, and then there is the issue of they are pretty blasé about disintegrating the clones. And it's like, you could have actually, like, the episode could have centered around they find the clones, like, oh shit, what do we do? They're already kind of mostly alive. Can we
I know.
just do this?
Vaporize them.
I had a
Yeah, but you know
question.
why Riker was able to do that is because they were both obviously Pulaski. He was just like,
I wondered right before we met their clones, like, why don't we see any of the beings of this planet, the planet Mariposa, in different stages of life? Like, we don't see any kids, and then you see them growing them at adult size, and I'm like, that's why.
So here's the thing, right? So the Mariposans clearly have sufficient technology where they could take genetic material from various different people.
Yep.
Voluntarily.
Yep.
And not clone, but mix, perhaps. Like, harvest.
Engineer.
Do in vitro they do in vitro. Harvest some eggs from the ladies. Harvest some swimmers from the guys.
Yeah.
Mix them up in a big jug. Mix them up in the still, maybe.
Yeah, maybe you should.
And then put
Odell is using that still
put the embryos in your easy bake clone oven.
Yeah.
And you get a clone in like a day.
Yeah. One with the medical know-how of Pulaski and the beard of Riker.
Like there's no this episode, because I'm pretty sure in vitro existed when this episode was made.
Yeah. So the problem with this episode was you had sort of two major plot lines that each could have been their own episode.
Yeah, it was like Neutral Zone again.
Yeah, but they
Smashed
tried to
together in an ugly way.
So neither was good.
The ideas are really cool.
They are, and if either one,
I love cloning.
If either one had been on its own,
there's so many of me.
If either one had been on its own, then you would have had room to actually explore the B plot with
Pulaski
and Worf's apparently budding friendship. And holy shit, the Klingons have a tea ceremony?
They cut a whole scene where he read poetry to her.
They were definitely gonna fuck!
Yeah, they were gonna fuck. Because
that's what they do. The men read love poetry.
I'm sure they did off screen.
Of course they did.
No questions.
Well, actually, he gave her first DP. He's got 2 dicks.
Yeah. Oh god, that's...
When is this established?
Discovery.
Klingons have 2 dicks.
We actually see a double piss stream on planet on Kronos or whatever the fuck.
Spoilers for Discovery for an unimportant detail.
Double dick.
Actually, that was something I had said in the last episode, and I forgot to mention. I even had a note about it. When they're discussing what to do about Geordie in the conference room.
What do we do about Geordie?
How do you solve a problem like Geordie?
Riker very, very seriously declares, "Then force it is." I went, yeah, and then you hear the thunk as Worf's penises both go erect.
Well, first you said thunk, and then you said, thunk.
Yeah, it hit the underside of the table.
Which made me laugh gleefully.
But going back to this episode, I agree. I think there were a couple of potentially decent episodes here, but
yeah.
But only we got this.
Only the ideas were good. Like if they had done the episode about the Irish farmers, and they just stretched that out to a full length. There's nothing they could have done that would have made it
not make them Irish.
Yeah, well, that's the thing.
They weren't Irish.
And there is an episode. Spoiler alert! There is an episode where basically this scenario happens. There's a colony that's been there for a long time, and it's going to get fucked up, and they have to go and say, like, listen, your colony is about to be destroyed. It's the same thing. It's an uncontacted Earth colony that with
chickens
that had left contact centuries ago.
How many chickens?
It's the same. It's literally they took the script of this episode. And they're like, we got to do this episode, but do it right, and we'll get there eventually.
Well, good. I'll possibly enjoy it better then.
And then the clone episode, right? It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense they wouldn't ask permission. If Pulaski had already figured out the genetic diversity
the thing is, if they need more diversity than just taking a couple of are they taking everyone's?
Yeah, I'm sure. That thing is, if they had asked, there's 1,000 people on that ship.
The thing is, you need.
If you just had a different guy fuck every girl clone,
you need consent.
I would say fuck no.
But that's what I mean, though. What I'm saying is, you've got 1,000 people on that ship. You just send out a general email, being like,
who wants to donate some?
Yeah,
Geordie would have been all over that.
Well, not even necessarily for fucking, just being like, look, they need some
because they don't
extra
like fucking,
genetic material to make some new clones. Who would be okay with this? And out of 1,000 people, you'd have at least enough go,
That's
what
true,
the fuck
because
ever.
they said, they need 30 pairs to make at least a viable community.
Yeah, and that's you'd probably get
more
plenty who would just be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I've come on everything in my room, I'll come over there too.
And me, I'm not fucking Will Riker, it's like, sure.
Wait. One Riker! One bridge!
Yes.
Yeah, Riker was very upset with the prospect of there being 2 Will Rikers, which I found funny.
Well, what I think what he's afraid
He's a fucking
of,
legend, dude.
what he's afraid of is that they'll mess with the genetics, and maybe the clone will have a bigger hog.
Mm.
No, I
And
think
he can't stand that idea.
Maybe the clone will be a pachyderm, if you know what I mean.
But yeah, no. And also now you've this is a species that's had contact. You know, they're humans. They're a colony. They've been kind of mislaid, but now they've been found.
I don't think they've been mislaid. I think they worked it out.
But they could have easily just been like, oh great, could you maybe contact your bosses and have them send scientists to help us? And they'd be like, sure.
That makes sense.
So really, it's not even just 1,000 people on the ship. It's the countless beings in the Federation. You would totally find people who'd be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. It's
also,
hey,
you're from
want to live forever?
Hey. Anyway, here's a plot line that came out of fucking nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
Geordie is a human lie detector.
Oh yeah, I forgot about
We
that.
don't even
God,
need
the
Troy
magic
anymore.
glasses.
Yeah, no.
Geordie's glasses, like Vulcan's, have different magical powers when
As
it's
required.
convenient.
Whenever needed.
You still need Troy, because in theory, if he's watching them on a screen, his visor can't pick up all that data. He has to be in the same room as them.
That's why he goes over to the Samaritan Snare room.
I do bet we never hear it again.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but you have Geordie for picking up deceit. You have Guinan for talking people through their problems.
Yeah.
Troy is just completely redundant.
Yeah.
And he, like Wesley's girlfriend liked chocolate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Too bad she never fucking got any.
But hey, if you didn't have Troy, who would have really off-putting black eyes?
I like her.
anyone
I like her
Worf
eyes.
punched.
Yeah. No, only.
I thought for sure you were going for clavicles. You said
I don't
really
think
off-putting.
in terms of the Beta Z eyes, I feel like hers are the interestingly enough the least stated of any Beta Z.
Yeah,
Well, she
I would
obviously
barely
has
know.
brown eyes naturally. I would guess.
I don't
mean,
know.
does she not?
I don't know.
From her coloring, like her hair and stuff, I would have assumed darker eyes.
I don't know. But it's
Find an
it's
interview
funny
with
that
her
the one
and
that
look.
you see the most, it's the most subtle effect, but of course, and then Loxana shows up.
Oh
it's
god,
it's
yeah. It's all you can see.
boom.
Well, that's
What's
because
her name?
Doesn't Marina Sirius what's Chapel's name? Majel Barrett have blue eyes?
Yeah, it
think
looked
she does.
especially fucked up for her.
Yeah, well, because I think they made them the contacts
Oh, they're
too
huge.
big for her, and I
Yeah.
think Troy's are, but they're not black.
No, but I'm saying, like, she has... I said that I thought she had brown eyes. Brown eyes naturally, and I'm correct.
Brown eyes.
How many assholes do Beta Z women have?
At any rate, yeah,
Stop looking down Marina Sirius' shirt.
I can't.
she is only half beta, so that could explain the eyeballs and the fact that she has a weird made up accent.
I don't remember if we shared it or not, but I've definitely seen a video of her explaining the origins of her accent and her frustration.
Did.
Okay, yeah. Of like the fact
I remember
that
seeing that.
they
Yeah,
kind of
there's
they were
like-
like, oh yeah, it's from your father. Then they introduce the father and he doesn't have an accent. She's like, what's with my accent? And they're like, "Ugh."
And then in the movies, she suddenly has an English accent, like the actor does normally.
Yeah, she's like, fuck it.
Spoilers.
So yeah, no, I really, a few weeks ago we had Measure of a Man. I was like, oh, this is where TNG starts to get good, like everyone says. And then it betrayed us. I really am dying for season 3. This is fucking killing me.
You know what I noticed?
What?
So
I don't think
I
these
didn't,
were
I
the
didn't notice.
worst.
I actually didn't notice. Do you have written down who wrote the Pachyderm episode?
No, I
No.
don't.
Well, I did notice that Up the Long Ladder was written by Melinda Snodgrass, who also wrote Measure of a Man.
That's true.
Really?
Which
Yeah.
one's measurement?
Wow, the
That's
good
Data,
one.
that's the,
Data is a man.
Oh yeah, she specifically
Data's
wrote.
a real boy.
She specifically said that the intention for Up the Long Ladder was to be commentary on immigration.
Which did not
And
come
all
through at all.
of that got lost because of rewrites and budget issues that made them cut off.
I blame Ron
No,
Rivera.
it came
Hurley.
through.
I'm blaming Hurley.
It came through great. What it said about immigration was Irish need not apply. It was a very clear immigration message.
Oof.
Received loud and clear. Snodgrass, you racist bitch.
Keep the chickens, leave the men.
But yeah, so
And the cannolis.
Melinda
Ooh.
Snodgrass, responsible for some of the better and some of the...
Yeah, and to clarify,
episodes.
we've seen
For
worse
all-
episodes than this, but there's just been...
it just wasn't...
It's been a lot of, clunkers and mediocres in a row.
Yeah.
And it's I feel like we're back at, some of the crappier days of TOS, and it's like, I want it to become this show people have sworn to me it is.
Even the sound, the musical stings in Up the Long Ladder, I was like, oh my god, we're back to TOS level.
Well, that actually...
You
said that! Yes! He literally said it. He was like, this is the closest we've got to...
This would have made a lot more sense as a TOS
episode.
Because you could dismiss the casual racism.
As the 60s.
As like, oh yeah. And like, I could actually see Kirk coming up with the solution. I cannot see Picard coming up with the solution
and Kirk would also make out with the woman for another scene.
And also, they could have made reference to the fact that Kirk, he's probably Irish. That's an Irish name.
Yeah.
There's Riley is somewhere on the ship, right?
Yeah, he's awesome.
Bring him back.
And if it was original series, they would have had even better music.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
Could have had a great scene where Scotty's getting shit-faced with the Irishman, and they're just both agreeing about how much they hate the English.
Mm-hmm.
That would have been great.
Is there still the English in
No,
Star Trek
and by
time?
the way, English is definitely a dead language by then.
How do you think...
Malcolm Reed, he's British. I mean, that's the 22nd century, but I can't see England disappearing in 200 years.
Well, this is the United Earth, though.
Yeah, they're still
do
British.
Tingles McGillicuddy there felt when he first thought O'Brien was running the show, and then an Englishman walks in.
Yeah. No, Frenchman.
Well,
even worse.
But when they left Earth, Englishmen,
Frenchmen
sounded like Frenchmen.
Yeah.
Not like this guy.
Yeah, it's weird.
Poser.
Yeah.
All right. Is that all we have to say about
I
these
think
episodes?
so, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, probably not, but you gotta stop sometime for decency's sake.
That's true. All right. Well, anyway, so I'll do the thing.
Oh my!
So this was Start to Steer Her By.
Woo!
Woo!
You got that right. Next week we'll be doing a manhunt in Manhunt.
Yes.
Whoa!
We'll also be talking. Oh, this is a great episode. In this episode, we have
Great in what way?
a youngish commander and his son are assigned to a new space station out by Major. The name of the episode is The Emissary. Oh, wait, no. They reuse an episode title. What? I'm making a joke because the title is The Emissary, which is also the title of, or not The Emissary, but Emissary is the pilot episode of Deep Space.
Oh, I wouldn't know.
Good one.
Jokes! I'm good at them. Anyway, next week, Manhunt, Emissary. The Emissary, not Emissary.
The definite
Different
article, you
episode.
might say.
Well, so that's our show, folks.
Woo!
That was it. That's all she wrote.
That's all she
Melinda Snodgrass. Why did she write it? We don't know.
Rent in Los Angeles isn't cheap.
Yeah, that's true. So, of course, this has been a Start to Steer Her By. If you like this show, you should subscribe to us on Star Trek.
.com / a Star to Steer By.
Yikes.
We're actually not on StarTrek.com. We're on
Yes.
SoundCloud.com. SoundCloud.com. One word, no space, .com.
Any capitals in there?
No, I don't
Good.
think so.
Phew.
Search for a Star to Steer Her By. Or
I had a friend-
Can you do a slash? Can you
No.
do slash? No.
I had a friend
can you-
who would never shift to do capitals. She'd always hit caps lock, do the capital, then hit caps lock again.
That
What the
sounds
fuck is wrong with her?
Plenty.
Wow,
Okay,
that's
fair
bad.
enough.
Okay. How did she do, like, the symbols above the numbers?
I don't know.
I'm like...
She knew all the alt codes. She would hold down control and be boop, 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 boop.
I'm actually, like,
Alt
vaguely
0150.
offended by that. That's really
What's
upsetting.
It's
N-dash.
unnecessary additional
Alt
keystrokes.
0151.
M
What's
dash?
that one?
M dash.
I love M
Nailed it.
dashes.
Anyway,
Um,
SoundCloud. Where are we? Twitter and Tumblr?
Yes, we're also on Twinder and Tumblr. what did you just say?
Twitter and Tumblr.
Typewrite.
Tumblr and Tumblr.
We're on Twitter where we do tweets for
We're on
twats.
Titler and Tumblr at SSHB Podcast and also Twitter's at SSHB Podcast. I hear Facebook is going out of business because they colluded with the Russians.
Who hasn't at this
Wait, what
point?
happened? Is that for real, by the way? Because, what the fuck is going on with Facebook?
This is a
Off-air.
gigantic
Off-air.
rabbit hole.
Anyway, if Facebook still exists when this airs, we will be found there as well. Just search for A Star to Steer Her By. iTunes,
It's a
Google
thing.
Play,
That's
Yep.
true.
all the things.
These are all nouns.
all the services.
And also, if Russia would like to collude with us...
If
I'll
if
accept
Russia
money.
would like to sponsor this podcast,
Congratulations on your
well,
election, by
actually,
the
I don't
way.
want to do that. I don't want to invite Russia to, because, like, Russians, Fine. Russia.
Some great hockey players.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Russians, Rush-outs.
The Russian people are very nice people. The Russian government,
Bunch of assholes.
bunch of dicks. No offense, Lord Putin.
All the offense, you fucking KGB.
We're gonna
strongman
get
piece of
killed,
shit.
man. He's gonna stick
Nerve
polonium up our
Nerve
bumholes,
agent.
man. We're gonna have green eyes from all the radiation they're gonna jam up there. Glowing green eyes.
Well, that'd be really great until it killed you. You could
That's
be like,
true.
hey guys, check this out.
That's true.
That'd be awesome.
But yeah, so all that, whatever.
Jazz.
Good stuff. My name has been Jake.
This has been Chris.
This has been Ames.
And this is always Caitlin.
And remember to steal me lucky charms.
Jake,
Taco Bell is
Jake
so
loves
fucking
Taco
good.
Bell.
Jim
Oh,
He
my
also
God.
hates his ass.
Gavin.
And our toilets.
I like to clear out.
Yeah, I was gonna say, no, he just likes to have diarrhea.
All right.
You're not a fan of Taco
Shut
Bell?
up.
Oh, they were gonna say you're not a fan of diarrhea, and I was gonna be like, no, man, I'm totally on board for diarrhea.
It is much better than constipation.
It's true. I'll
I've-
take diarrhea any day over being backed up.
One
Yeah,
time,
it
I went
sucks.
on vacation in Maine, in high school, I want to say, and I went with my friend Wendy, and she had a couple of cousins there and her brother, and one of her cousins was like a couple years older, and he was really cute. So I was literally in Maine for 4 days. I did not shit the whole time I was there because I was too embarrassed to take a shit while this really cute guy was in the same
Vicinity.
15-mile radius, I guess.
I didn't shit the whole time that one time I went camping.
I think it's something about being away from
camping.
home where, like...
I
'cause
could
when
shit
we-
anywhere,
'cause-
Jake. I could shit right here in this chair if I
We
wanted
went on
to.
vacation once and we both got all fucked up.
Well, I
troubling
personally
time.
can shit anywhere.
I actually quite enjoyed shitting in England because the toilets are so different.
Really?
Ooh.
Well, see,
It's like
you know,
pooping on someone's face.
like you wouldn't realize, but you know how ours empty
Sounds like my
completely
Friday night, am I
first
right?
Yeah.
and then refill? Theirs, the basin never fully empties. It just swirls a lot, and suddenly the poop is gone.
So there's like...
It's like a
but
magic
there's
trick.
remnants? Are there still
Like-
remnants?
No, it's just gone. It's just gone. Like
Through
it
osmosis,
basically
there must still be
flushes
some
and
shit.
refills at the same time instead of flushing and then
yeah,
refilling.
but there's mixing going on.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going
You're
to
not gonna
drink
drink
toilet
from it,
water
I was just gonna
anyway.
say.
We might.
In an emergency.
No, disagree.
Anyway, point is-
Or you might drop your watch in there, or not maybe not your watch,
Here's
but
the
your
thing.
ring or
Either
something.
way, if
or
you're
your toothbrush.
Yeah,
Have you heard about the German toilets? I don't know if this is a legend or not, but I heard that German toilets, and I heard this on the
They poop
internet.
for
you're
you.
lying. You're definitely
No,
lying.
I'm
but
not
go
lying.
on.
This is definitely...
Yeah,
a
I
thing.
maybe I hear the
blues
Yeah.
are calling.
No, it's not. It's not a fucking thing. No, I heard that German toilets, or at least some German toilets, have a
Weird German accent.
non-submerged porcelain like shelf inside of them. Like, you know how like a normal toilet is just a
I
bowl
think
of
I've
water.
heard this story too. But
Yeah, actually,
And-
so do I.
And German toilets, evidently, from what the internet has told me, have like a shelf. And you don't poop into the water, you poop onto the shelf.
So you can keep it afterwards if you
I don't
need
know,
it.
and like
well,
no one,
Germans do like shit porn.
no one is quite sure that I've recognized like why you would want that. And then when you flush, like water comes and like
Sure.
washes it off the
Maybe
shelf.
Then
it like
it
takes less
streaks.
water to get it to.
I know.
Well, you know what? The reasoning maybe is so that it doesn't splash and send toilet water onto your bum.
Fecal matter.
I don't
That's
know,
like
I feel
a
like-
built-in bidet, though.
I feel like it would splash more if you were shitting onto a shelf. Because then it's closer to your ass, and if you got a really
No.
strong...
Well, I
but
meant
if
the
it's
water.
not underwater, if you're shitting onto the shelf, it's just, first of all, the sound would be really satisfying. So you get that nice wet.
Thud.
No, you
And
know what's
then-
really bad though? Have you ever like had diarrhea so bad you're basically pissing out your asshole?
Piss out my ass!
Imagine doing that
Sounds
onto a
like
shelf.
every day that ends in Y.
Spray everywhere.
Yeah, it sounds
What do
awful.
you say,
Anyway,
have I ever? Do you
All right, this has
mean-
been
Let's
Shitty
start
Corner.
Wow, this went into a place.
yeah, I'm probably not using it.
How's your toilet corner?
All right, anyway, shit shelf.
Shit shelf.
Shit show.
Fucking.
That's the name of this episode now.